This video is going to be an in-depth tutorial on how to use the funnel builder properly so that you can build your dream site. By the end of this video, you'll confidently be able to build a website that looks like this step by step, and you'll also learn how to edit it, manage it, and more. Firstly, we need to go onto the funnel page, so within the Sites and Store Builder panel, go onto the funnel builder and click the Start Now. Here we're going to be greeted with all the previous funnels you've built in the past. If you haven't built any in the past, don't worry, this will just probably come up blank. To create a funnel, press this new funnel button here at the top right that's in green, and then we're just going to name our funnel. And I've named my funnel, so I'm going to press add. And as you can see, we now have my first funnel here on the left hand side, where we can see the date has been created and how many steps within it. Steps in funnels are basically just the pages within a site. So if you have one page, it'll say one step. If you have 5 different pages on your site, it'll say 5 steps. To edit this funnel and to create pages or steps within it, simply click on it and we'll be greeted with this page. So if we haven't added a step yet before, there'll obviously be no steps. We have a few tabs at the top here that will be explained in another video, but if you want to add your first step, simply press the add step button. So here, you're going to be greeted by a bunch of different templates, but in this video, I'm going to be showing you from scratch how to utilize all the different parts of the funnel builder to make your dream site. So I'm going to click create blank step. If you wish, however, you can select a template, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using a blank step. So here I've now created my first step within this funnel. Now there's a few things we can do here, but one of the things that we're going to be most interested in doing, and one of the things you're going to spend most of your time doing, is editing it. To edit it, simply click the edit button here, and we can either edit it within the same page, or we can edit it in a new tab. I'm going to edit it in the same page. It doesn't really matter which one you choose though. So upon pressing that, we're going to be greeted by this. So it's very blank, very bare bones. It may seem a little scary at first, but I promise it's very, very simple to get through. So first things first, on the right hand side, we have layouts. We can have a full width layout, wide width layout, medium width layout, and a small width layout. So the layouts are just symbolic for how much space all the elements are going to take up on the page. For example, if you have a full width layout, it's going to take up the entire screen. A wide width will also take up the entire screen, but it won't be as large vertically. A medium width and small width will just mean there's less horizontal space. In this demonstration, I'm going to be using a medium width section for my first go. So the entire hierarchy of things within the website are sections, then rows and columns, and elements. So elements go within rows and columns go within sections. So we currently have a section, and within this section we can make a row. So I'm going to go here and make a row. And within this row we can have a 2-column row, 3-column row, etc. I'm going to keep it simple and just go for a 1-column row here. And now within this column and row, we can add an element. There are many, many elements we can pick from, such as text elements, media elements, button and link elements, and etc. On the left here, you can see different options for the column that we've created. Additionally, if you click the section, you'll have section options, and if you click the row, you're going to have row options. These options dictate how the page will be styled and how it will look. So you can change things like background color, border color, padding, width, whether there'll be a background image or not, you can align it differently, and etc. Before we go changing the options, I want to first add an element to this column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto this column here and I'm going to press add element. And I want to add an image. So I'm going to press image, and here we go. We now currently see an image placeholder. To change this to your actual image, we have to go into the image options over here. And as you can see, under image options, we have image. This is the current image that has been placed here. And this is just a temporary one that we can change. If you wish to change it, simply press this image icon here, and you'll be greeted by the media library. Now the media library is a store where all of the different media that you've used on all of your sites will be stored. As you can see here, we have the library. We can search for the different images if they have a certain name, and we can look for different folders we can create to store images in to make them more accessible and easy to find. But the most important thing here is uploading your image to the media library. Simply click this browse button at the top right here, and upon clicking it, you're going to be taken to the File Explorer. And within there, you can navigate what file you want, what image you want from your hard drive, and then you can upload it to this media library. And I'm going to browse for a yoga image. Now, I already have this image on the left here, as you can see, but I'm going to upload it again just for the sake of the video. So I've selected the image, and as you can see, it will say image uploaded at the top if you've done it successfully. And as you can see here, my image is there. If I want to use this image, I can press the tick. If I want to delete it, I can just press the delete button. And if I want to store it in a folder or move it, I can press this here. I've got a duplicate, so I don't want to, so I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to use this. So as you can see, I now have my image. And now maybe I want to change some of the options for this image. For example, we have width, height, and a bunch of other options here. I firstly want to change the size of this image. So I can use these arrows here to change the size, which is going to take a little while. So I'm going to input it manually, maybe 250 pixels, or I'll try 300. So we now have 300 width and 300 height. If you don't change the height, or if you only change the width or the height and don't change both, it will make it uniform. So it will have the same height as it does the width. However, if you want to make it non-uniform, just enter a different height than the width, for example 200, and as you can see, it will now be stretched. So as you can see, the site looks a little bland as it currently is. There's not too much going on for it, and I want to change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a background image. So to add a background image to the entire site, simply click Settings, and then click a Background. And here you'll be greeted by this options box here for background. And I'm going to select my background image here. And I'm going to click on my image. And here I have my background now. There's a few things here we can do to make the background look better. And one of the things is to go into settings and change the image opacity. So I like maybe a half fade. And I'm going to change the background color to, blue's a bit too bright. Red doesn't really suit the vibe. That's a bit too bright still. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to choose this. This looks really nice. This fits quite well. As you can see, I just experimented around. I saw what looked nice, saw what didn't. And that's mainly what building a website is. Trying things out, seeing what looks nice, and improving on them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the options of this section I have. I'm going to add a background to this section. So firstly, I'm going to change the background color. I'm going to change it to white here. And now I'm going to add a border. And to add a border, we have to go and see advanced options here. And now we're going to see border options, and I'm going to add a full border. As you can see, we now have a border on our image. It's not very easy to see. We can actually change it so it's easier to see if I go to border width. As you can see, the border is very visible now, and border radius. So now it's converging a little bit like a circle. We can change the border color. I'm going to change it to maybe an orange. I think that suits quite well. And I'm going to change the radius to 20 pixels. So here it looks a little better now with the background image of this calm stone, serene looking water. And we also have a background on the section as well, this white background. This solid background of white. And there's a few more things maybe we could do to this here. I'm just going to have a look around and see if there's anything that interests me. So I'm not going to change anything else. I think it's fine as it is. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the image. I'm going to go through some image options and see if there's anything here that I might like. So we can change the padding here to make it drop down a little more, but I don't like that. I want to keep it even. You might be confused here as why there's different margins for different device types, for example, mobile and desktop. And that's because websites will look different on desktop and mobile. For example, this website on a phone, it's going to have to fit all these contents into a much smaller screen. So sometimes they can be a bit squished or jammed together. Editing these margins for mobile and desktop will allow you to change the way it looks on different devices to make it neater, more compact, and to allow it to be more compatible, just in case you need to. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to add an animation. I'm going to make a pulse, like a breathing sort of animation. I think it looks quite nice. We'll delay it a little bit, make it seem quite calm. I'll add a 4-second pulse. And I think that looks quite nice. So I'm going to leave it like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another row. So I'm going to go here at the bottom of row, press the blue icon, and I'm going to press a 1-column row here. And I've got another element that I can add. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text. I'm going to add some sample text. So to add text, I'm going to go to text and then headline. I'm going to add a headline, and I'm going to say, so as you can see, this text says sign up for our free yoga and well-being course. Now with text, there's a lot of different options you can do that is different to images. Within this text, we have quite a few options on the left-hand side. We can change the text color. We can change some of the fonts. There's padding again, and we can change the opacity. Maybe a light fade would look a little calmer. Yep. There's some advanced options, such as line height, if you want to change the spacing. I think 2.5 is fine. And there's a few other things if you want to play around with it. But also additionally with text is if you double click on a certain word, you're given these formatting options here. So I want to underline free. So what I can do is I can choose between bold, italic, underline, etc. And I'm going to press this underline, and now free is underlined. Sign up for our free yoga and wellbeing course. Maybe I want to add something else to this text to emphasize it a bit more, so I'm going to italicize the and. So now it's sign up for our free yoga and wellbeing course. So there's a lot of things you can do here to play around with to make your text stand out. And I've given you some of the tools that you'll be able to use to make your text seem really, really impactful if you want it to be. So now I'm going to add another row here. I'm going to add another 1-column row. And this time I'm going to add a subheadline. I'm going to add a subheadline. And this subheadline is going to say, so now I've said there is only a limited amount of spaces for the course, so be quick and sign up now. I should put a comma here, it's a bit more literate. I'm going to make the text color an orange. I think that looks quite nice, and I think it suits the vibe of the website quite well. So I don't like how this subheader is so far away from this header here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change some of the margins here. And what you can see is that the margins, they only go up on the slider in positive numbers. So it can only go down here. But if I wanted it to go up, I can enter minus 20 or minus 35. And as you can see now, it's much closer to the header. And I like that. I think that looks a lot better. Now I'm going to add another row. I'm going to add a 1-column row. I'm going to add another element. And this time I'm going to add something a little different. This time I'm going to add a countdown. So on the left-hand side here, you can see some options for the countdown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the end date here. I'm going to change the end date to the 23rd of August. I'm going to change the end time to something, maybe, here we go. I'm going to change the font. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to try Droid Sans. I think that looks nice. If you want, you can import your own fonts, but I'm okay with the ones that are already selected on the site, and I'm going to use one of those. So now we can change the text color if we want. We could keep it black, or we could change it to an orange. We could make the background color different. We can make it a black. And I thought of an interesting thing that I can do here is I'm going to also make this header, I'm going to make the background of this also orange. Maybe that looks nice, I'm not sure. I don't like how this is too far away from the subheader, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the countdown. I'm going to change the padding again. I'm going to change the margin, the margin of the top margin. I'm going to make it a minus 20, and that's a bit closer together. And I like that. There is themes we can choose from, and there's advanced options we can choose from, but I'm okay with it as it is. The next thing I'm going to add now is a form. I'm going to press the plus button here, add another column row. I'm going to add an element, and now I'm going to pick a form. So what I'm going to add now is a pre-made form. And as you can see, we now have these form options. I'm going to remove address. I'm going to remove your message. And I'm going to keep these three and the agree to terms and conditions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this button here to a different color. And I'm going to choose the orange that we have throughout the site. And I'm going to leave it like that. I think that's quite okay. One of the things here I think looks a little odd is the size of this logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of this logo, and I'm going to change the padding at the top. I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to make that smaller as well. So now I've changed the size of the logo a little. And my indecisiveness is getting the better of me, because I'm now going to change it again to 250. 250 I think hits the sweet spot. I think the site looks quite nice. There's a lot of things we could obviously improve on. I'm going to go through it quickly to show you just the different ways in which things work and a demonstration of how to use all the different elements. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another row. I'm going to click this plus icon here. I'm going to add a 1-column row. And as you can see, we have continued on at the bottom here. And I'm going to add a video. I can add a video here. And as you can see, we now have a video placeholder. So This video placeholder looks a bit bare. I'm going to add a border. I'm going to go to themes, see if there's any borders here already made that I like. Nope. So I'm going to make my own. I'm going to go full border. I'm going to do a border width of 3 pixels. I'm going to have the border color orange. And now I'm going to add one last row. And this row is going to be a 2-column row. And here we're going to have an element. I'm going to add some subheadline. And I'm going to also add, sorry, actually, I do not want to add a subheadline, which is a good time to show you how to undo a certain action that you don't want to happen. Simply click this undo button here. And as you can see, it's deleted. So this time I'm going to add an element. I'm going to add a paragraph, which is what I wanted before. And now I'm going to add an element, and I'm going to add an image. And this image is going to just be the logo of the site really quick. I'm going to make this a lot smaller. And so here we now have some text and an image at the bottom. Now this text could say something like terms and conditions, or subject to change, or I don't know, some jargon, you know, the things that are at the bottom of sites. Or it could even have some other options. It may not be text. You might want to add something else, like a button, or maybe another form, I don't know. And there we go. Now I think we are finished. So this is our site. So firstly, we've added a section, and within this section, we've created all these different rows. And within all these different rows, we've added all of these different elements. So here we have an image element, we have a heading element, a subheading element, a countdown element, a form element, a video element, and then we added a 2-column row. And within this 2-column row, we have some text and an image. When making your own site, there's going to be a lot of different elements that you can add other than the ones I've shown you. For example, you could add bullet list, icon, video pop-ups, buttons, and there's a lot more to choose from. The best thing to do here is, if you're a bit confused about what they do, is to just play with them. See how the different options manipulate it a little, see how it interacts with the rest of the site, try moving it around, try editing it, do whatever you want to it, and it'll help you understand how it's used. For example, here's a progress bar in the block section. I've never used a progress bar before, but if I press progress bar, as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory what it does. And I'm sure there's a lot I could change within the settings here. So if I go here and I want it to be a different percentage, I could make it 30%. If I wanted to say a different percent text, I could say loading, if I could spell right. If I wanted a stripe animation or not, instead it just has this. So that's how you figure out what the different elements do. And if you do that, you'll learn how they work in no time. So obviously there are a few more options here that we can see at the top. For example, we can change this to a mobile layout. So as you can see, this is what it will look like on your phone. You can also see what it looks like on a tablet. There are also some more settings you can change if you want, such as search engine optimization, tracking codes, etc. At the top right here, you can manage all of your different sections that you've created, all the different rows you've created, all the different columns you've created, all the different elements you've created, and you can preview your site. But before you preview or do anything else, I highly recommend you save. So let's save. And if it's done successfully, it'll say here, awesome job, page saved. And now let's preview it. And so this is what our site looks like previewed. As you can see, we have our image that's pulsing a little bit with its animation. We have our text, our countdown, our form, the video placeholder, the text and image at the bottom, and the loading bar. So I'm pretty happy with the site. I think it looks okay. And so now once we've saved, we can go back. So now once we've saved and we come back to our funnel panel, we can see our site here. And we can do a few things. We can edit it again, we can preview it, we can make more steps, we can change the name of it, and there's a few other things we can do. But that's the main in-depth tutorial on how to manage the sections, rows, columns, and everything else and in between within the funnel builder.